This is what you need. Now, this is a very simple tutorial of, there's no magic or mystery to it, of how to put connectors on Ethernet cables, something similar to this. I'm going to show you parts that you'll need, the things that you'll need, the materials or whatever. They'll be in the description below. So you need some cabling. This is perfect to learn with. If you have a spare cable, I mean, they're relatively cheap. Now, this tutorial, you wouldn't be making cables because, like I said, they're pretty cheap. The only time that you would put a connector on if you're running a long line in your house or whatever. But anyway, so that's, get yourself one of these so you can practice on it. Practice makes perfect. Just cut them out and continue with the tutorials in that way. So you'll need that. You'll also need a tester. Now, you don't need one. I highly recommend it. The reason for that is you can test it to make sure that it works when you're done with everything. You will need a crimper, some sort of a crimper. This is a Ethernet and telephone wire crimper, and what it does is it crimps. It's a great name for it. Let me lock this one up. I think this, yeah, there we go. Has a lock on it. Stripper, a wire stripper. You don't have to strip the individual thin wires, but you do have to take the shield off the main cable. And what else do we need here? Not necessary, but a couple of these. Good thing about this is you'll have different colors for different cables if you're running more than one cable in the same spot. Use the different connectors so you'll know what goes where, which wire, and of course document everything. What else will you need? I think that's about it. Yeah, some pen and paper just so you can take notes, and this is explained in the video. All right, have fun, and I think it'll work out fine. Bye-bye. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to do some Ethernet cabling of the ends. What I'm talking about is if you have a broken cable, which we will break this one in a second. Tools that you will need are, let's see, a crimper, something like this, or you can use a crimper like this. Basically what it's, I'll show it in a minute, but you put in your connector in here, you squeeze it, and what's going to happen is you can see the comes out and squeezes it. Same thing like here. It's going to, you put your cable connector in here, squeeze, and it'll just make all the connections and push the pins out. You have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's fine. Let's find all that in a minute. You're going to need some sort of a stripper. This is just a cheap stripper that actually, I think it came with one of these two, I don't remember. Cable, obviously, and you're going to need connectors. Now, there are different kinds of connectors, and that's what I want to really discuss here. Also, the simplicity of using connectors. You have gold-plated, I don't know if this is real gold or not. Okay, you have gold-plated connectors. You have just regular plastic connectors. But the most important thing, okay, if we look at these two connectors here, let me get a better view on this for a second. All right, here we go. If you look at these two connectors that we have here, one of them, it's closed off. In other words, what's going to happen is you're going to put your wires in at this end, okay, and they have to be cut just right, at the right length. The other type, which I highly recommend to get, is this, and you can see that these are open at the top. Okay, you can see the light passing right through, and these are actually called pass-through connectors. And the point is that just make sure you use the open end ones. Okay, so let's get right to it. I don't want to waste too much time. It's really easy to do this. Oh, one more thing. Oops, almost forgot. It'd be nice if you get a hold of one of these. Okay, now what this is just a cable connector, cable tester Connectors are here. Very simple to use. They're about maybe 15 bucks. I'll put descriptions to all of these things below, and the links that I used on Amazon. Also, you might want just to make it nice and neat. All right. So the way this thing works, I'm going to start off with the way the connector works, so you'll understand. We're going to take, this is a cable that has not been broken, and we're just going to connect. Oops, sorry, wrong thing. Okay, let's connect one end into here. Okay, and let's connect the other end here, and this will this will tell us whether or not the connections are right. Now, if you see, so this one might be at one end of the house, and this one might be at the other end of the house, and you'll see that all the wiring is fine. And I'm just showing you to disconnect this, and there's no more connection. All right. Having done that, what we're going to do is I'm just going to break this, because what you want to do is you actually do want to practice several times. So you're gonna waste some. That's fine. No problem about that. And let me get a different cutter. I don't like this cutter for this. I just need, actually, I believe that this, yes it does. It has a cutter built in. I'm just going to cut off this end. All right. There we go. Now we have to strip it. We want to strip it long enough to go through the pass-through. So here is just a plain plastic one. And what we're going to do is we're going to strip these wires. Well, let me go back to change camera again. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to strip these wires long enough where they will actually protrude beyond the cutting, beyond the cutout. Alright? That little slit that's there. Now, I like to keep them long. I'd rather waste this much. It's no big deal. Okay, I'd rather waste this much just to make it easier for me to pull the wires. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to strip this. And this, I use this particular stripper. Okay. And there are 4 pairs of wires. That's 8 wires altogether. Okay, these are color coded. If you're doing this in your house, you can Google what different colors to use and the sequence to put them in on the connector. If you're doing this for your house or non-commercial anything that it's not commercial, and you really don't care, it doesn't matter what colors you use and which position they go in on the connector. It doesn't really matter. What does matter is that you write it down, because you're going to put the exact same side on the other end. When does it matter? Well, in this case it might matter if we already had a connector on here. We'd have to carefully look at the color codes and then make the exact same color codes at this end. But if you have no end here, which we don't, because I'm going to cut it off. Yay, we have no end here. So now we can start from scratch. And again, this is just a 6-foot scrap cable. And we're going to do the same thing over here. We're just going to strip it down. Throw this around, take it out. Now, like I said, the only oh, by the way, some of these will be shielded, so you'll have more than just these wires that are coming out. This is just a very cheap sleeve. But in the sleeve you might have tin foil, something that looks like tin foil, something that looks like a string in there also, whatever. Okay. So I'm going to get a pad, because like I said, this is very important. And what I'm going to do is, okay, so this is going to be the in, and this will be the out. I'm going to be keeping the tab there's a tab on one side and not on the other side. Because what can happen is you'll put these in a certain order on this end. You get to the other end and you start following whatever you wrote. But if this was flipped over, you'd be doing just the opposite. You don't want that. You want the same on both sides. So I'm going to make it like this, in, and this will be the out, and the tab on top. All right, that's just for me. That's you'll write something similar to that. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these are going to be the colors that we're going to use. Whatever. Okay, so we're going to start off with, let's say, you'll untwist these. I'm going to speed this part of the video up. Green stripe. And then the green. Be the second. I'm going to speed this up. I'll speed this video up. Now we got the orange stripe. So let's grab that one. Orange stripe. I like to hold these like this so that they don't move while you're inserting the next color. You see why I said I probably could have left these wires even longer. It would have been easier. And there is the orange stripe. There we go. Now we want the orange solid. Be the next one. You know, always straighten these out a little bit. Which is right here. Blue stripe. Where'd you go? We'll leave this. Now, before we continue, we want to make sure that you did in fact get the wires into the correct number. So we got a green stripe. Okay. Hoping that this shows up properly on there, but okay. So there is with the tab. Okay, with the tab and showing the colors, how they all just came through. Okay, so looking at this again, you have your green stripe, solid green. All right, so those colors are all done. Let's pull these through. Now, as you're pulling, I'm pushing this in slightly, okay, just slightly. And I'm actually doing a pinch here. So by pinching this, everything is sliding up. There's a notch here. Okay, you want to make sure that the insulation is past that notch farther inside. This is not inside far enough. So when we crimp it, it will not hold. So go in as far as you can. Okay, I think that that's good. Now we're ready to crimp. Here's the fun part. Get either crimping tool that you had, either this one or this one, doesn't matter. And I'm going to use this one just because, now you know what, I'm going to use this one so you can actually see it working. This particular one has 3 different sizes on it. This is the size we're going for, obviously. That's where the clip is going to go. This clip, just put these wires together so they fit through here. Okay. You're going to snap this into place. It will, as if you were connecting it. So watch, I'm going to snap it. I'm going to just push and you'll hear the snap. Or maybe not. Okay. Okay, I can't get it. Oh, you know what? Okay, I take that back. It's not going to snap. That's another one that I had where it actually snaps in place. So make sure that this is as far in as it goes. Okay. Double check your wiring. If you want to check your colors and everything, just check it one more time. And then you're going to just squeeze. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And we're done. Okay, we are done. This has been crimped. Okay, I don't know if you could see that. It's not going to come out. Now what we need to do is to cut all these excess wires with, just use scissors. It's fine. All right. That's not a good job. I don't like that. I don't like what I did here. Wait a minute. Okay, I remember something. This was my first set. And I didn't like it for the reason, just because of this. It leaves the wires hanging there. And then I had to go in with a blade. That's when I bought this guy. Now this guy, the technique is very similar, but when you get here, okay, I'm going to put this one back in to crimp it. This one has a blade that comes out and will slice off the excess. So of course this has already been crimped with this. I'm just using it to cut off the excess blades, which is right here. I'm just going to, and there we go. Okay, this is much, much nicer. And there we go. Much cleaner. All this excess stuff here. Excess wire. Alright, let's do the same thing on the other side. But this time, we'll use this guy. Alright. I'm going to stop the camera for a second and then I'll speed it. Now at the beginning I did mention about, well, I briefly showed this. Okay. These are not only nice to make it nice at the end, and they will actually protect, or actually you can't open these up by accident because this actually covers the tab. So it's not only that they're good for, but if you get a bag of them, just assorted colors. This way you can have different coloring for different cables. What you do have to remember is, I'm just going to use yellow because I have a lot of those. I have more for yellows. But, okay. What you have to remember is, you can't put this on after you've put a connector on here. So, I'm going to slide it on before I put the connector in at the other end, which I almost forgot to do, alright? Okay, so let's put this on, and I'm going to put both connectors on there. This is one. I should have remembered to put this on from the beginning. Alright, and just, that's it, you're done. That's it, push it in a little better. Okay, we're done. We're done with that end. Okay, and remember the little chart we had before? We'll do the same thing. Now I am going to use a, okay, it's still an open end, but I'm going to use a gold plated one, or maybe pull this through, and just like ease our way in pinching it, pinching it, pinching it, and let's pull these looser ones a little. And if you just want to check one more time, check your color scheme, make sure that it's all correct, which it is. And now we can continue with the crimping. There you go, put the cables through there, extra wires. Push in there far enough, make sure that it comes out from the other side. And we're done. Let's crimp it. Crimped and cut. There we go. Put the sleeve on. Actually, before I put the sleeve on, let's check it. Let's see how it works out. So we'll put one end into here. Put the other end into here. Let's get this out of the way. Back. There's a phone. Okay. There's a phone jack side and an Ethernet side. Now we have both of them in here. Let's turn it on. And there we go. All connections are good. So, hey, now let's slow it down. Now we don't have a ground on here. The ground would have been if this particular cable had a shield on it. But here we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and perfect. So the cable has been assembled perfectly.